All right, should we go ahead then?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay. Well, thank you for everyone for opportunity. So just to give context, my name is Udmesh. I'm based in Silicon Valley. I have been leading a company called SOPAC. Our, our goal is to really focus on providing a better and effective feedback and learning, whether you are dealing with a nonprofit or accelerator or corporate social responsibility. Every one of them has a stakeholder, and getting the insights into the stakeholders' journey. In fact, the example that Payment was giving is quite appropriate to start out. So what SOPAC does is to help making your data collection do much better than what traditional tool is. So there are many traditional data collection tools that are there. Some of them are survey-based tools, Qualtrics, SurveyMonkey. Many of you may be familiar with that, and Google Form, then CRM tools, and all those things are has its own sort of the things that they solve. But there's a lot is changing in last 3 years. We started with ChatGPT before even they become ChatGPT 3 and become public. So one of the challenge that I would like to really start out by describing is that how the role of AI is changing into the data collection practices. And so SOPAC is solving these challenges of collecting effective data and leveraging AI in a more effective way. So get to begin with it, I want to really start by giving what exactly we're trying to solve first. One thing is that the traditional data collection, if you think about it using survey, they have been mostly about collecting satisfaction data and mostly in the form of yes, no, or score me by one, two, three, four, and those kind of things. That's called quantitative data. And if you see that for decades, that's how the most companies have been collecting data for the products or services that they are collecting. One thing that they are not realizing how things, the landscape has changed and how AI is playing a massive role in collecting and effectively understanding what stakeholder wants. So let's take some example here. So let's say I'm working on some accelerator program or training program, and my goal is to really understand how this particular individual who's part of my program, let's call Girls Code. Girls Code is an accelerator that focuses on leveraging the data from, let's say, learning management system and tracking how things are improving. The challenge in the whole process of tracking the normal quantity data is that does give very small insights into how girls are progressing. So if you, let's say you are working on a STEM program, just by looking at the how my knowledge is improving, it's just a very small part of the big puzzle. Bigger puzzle, obviously, in the case of STEM program is that individual's confidence improving? How was the confidence before the program, and how the confidence was the midway of program, and how is the confidence after the program? And if you know that how confidence is improving and the goals, then essentially you can put together the correlation between the qualitative aspect and quantitative aspect in a much better way. And so as a result, your ability to learn and leverage the insights can be tremendously opens the doors. And this was traditionally been collected by many people, but they don't do anything with it because the qualitative data are notoriously very difficult to analyze. Now, with the AI, obviously things get much easier, and you can combine quality to quantity to give you immense amount of insights. So traditionally, we have been working with many uh, corporates and social impact organization, and you could essentially the process would be to define the framework, define the metrics, collect the data, and build the dashboard. An entire cycle will take like 6 months, 9 months, or a year to build the dashboard, and it will also cost quite a bit. You also have to have data literate people in your team. So that process used to take long. Thanks to AI, what I'm going to show you today is a demo, which really compresses the time from months to the minutes, literally. The caveat here is that if you want to leverage AI effectively, you have to have a clean data. And unfortunately, it's easier to put the data in a chat GPT, but 99% of time data that people are putting in for these kind of programs are not very effective or not clean or duplicate data or not complete data. And as a result, your ability to gain the confidence of the data insight is very low. I mean, it's easier to build any kind of dashboard in AI, but that most of the time the data quality can be a huge challenge for most organizations. That's why most social impact integration and small businesses are struggling to leverage AI. And so what I'm going to walk you through is a process which has a three key fundamental. So I'm going to share my screen now. So this is going to be our website, obviously, and you can see how well, and then I'm going to show the demo as well. But uh, this is SOPAC website, and you can see that it's based on a three core principle. Number one is that if you want to track the data of any individual over the period of time, it's very important that you track it by individual unique ID of that person. And that's why a lightweight CRM based approach is pretty critical because once you have unique ID, I can track that application process. So let's just say in a previous example of payment, he is running accelerators. Then I need to have application. In application, obviously, I can use a leverage AI to automatically process and bring down my time to analyze application from 2 months, 3 months, and with the 12 people reviewing it to the literally matter of days. That's one thing. Secondly, is I can track that person over the period of time during the program, after the program has been graduated, because now I have a unique ID. So that's one thing. Other part is that by leveraging AI, not only you're collecting data now in a survey, but I can have a 200-page report. So let's say I have a data that come in, I have collected some data and say I have this particular report, which is 200-page PDF, but literally within a seconds, I can have a very structured approach of data where I can do the red flag from the data that been supported, or I can literally should see the results in a consistent fashion where I want to see with the program impact, SDG alignment, stakeholders, and all this thing can be analyzed in a literally matter of minutes. And that's thanks to the prompt engineering. And by leveraging AI, you can do amazing insights, whether it's a 200 interviews in a Zoom, or whether it's a PDF document, or whether you're collecting qualitative data from essays from application. So that's the second benefit. And third benefit, obviously, is that you oftentimes you want to collect the data and clean data. You want to make sure that there is no duplicates, and you also want to make sure that if there is any red flag like this, I can literally go back to that particular person within a minute, and that in the application, I can say, look, I have it, but these are 5 things that is missing in your application, and please fill out this information, and you can leverage the data. So that is the power of the AI. And I'm going to pause here if see anybody has any question before I move to the demo part of it. But fundamentally, what we are doing here is to something that used to take minutes, and I'm even going to take a literal previous example that Payment was giving for the accelerators or investors due diligence process, where I can have hundreds of due diligence documents that I can provide, or application I can provide, and within literally 3 minutes, I will have a report like this created, or report like this, or report like the essentially this, where I can extract the information that I'm looking for in a public information or a private information, so private framework, and extract this data into single fashion. I'm going to pause to see whether anybody's paying attention to what I'm saying and they have any question, because I hope that this is more of a collaborative session and people have some questions about this thing. because just presenting for the sake of presenting obviously is not that fun. So before I go
Unless
forward,
yeah, if
yes,
I
please
could
go
just
ahead.
add something. So essentially, what you're doing is you're taking large blocks of data, putting it through AI, and literally, it sounds like in a matter of minutes, even you're able to generate very thorough reports that provide a lot of good information to many of the stakeholders. So here's another way that AI is really speeding things up and allowing more data to get to more people. You look like you're kind of in the forefront of this going forward.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, we've been around for 10 years, and many of our clients we have our own business intelligence platform, and we used to collect the data, we centralize the data, we put it together in a dashboard. And when we showed this thing to the clients, the our same clients, and say, I can do this thing, anything I want. I can build this kind of visualization. I can build this kind of thing. And all it takes is the prompt engineering. They are falling off the chair because if you think about it, there are two main shift happening here. You are not dependent on IT anymore. Instead of months, you're building this thing in minutes, and I can create any of my prompts to design anything I want as long as I have a good clean data. So underlying key thing is that if I have a very good clean data on a daily basis instead of monthly or even after program is over, on a daily basis I can run the new experiment on the data that I have collected, and I can build and learn from the data on a continuous basis. So essentially, what AI is literally doing here to all those organizations, especially small, medium-sized businesses or social impact organizations, big businesses are already doing this thing that I'm talking about. This is more for the organization who have limited capacity, but they want to do a lot more and they want to track this, what people have been saying. I'm introducing this product and I want to see whether the product really has a challenges, some features that is needed. I can literally run that experiment around it and I can get this kind of results. Anything that you can imagine, you can do that. So that's the key thing. And any follow-up question? Anyone else, guys? This may be an opportunity to answer any questions on how data and AI works together. So this is more than ChatGPT thing. So trust me, this is a way more than ChatGPT. So this may be your opportunity to ask any questions to me. I'm happy to answer anything. But what I'm trying to say is that the power is in collecting clean data, and clean data can essentially can be that's where the AI is leveraged the best. Because without that, everybody understands ChatGPT, but that ChatGPT people don't understand. There's a lot of fuzziness that will come in, illusion can come in. But if you have a clean data with a clean context, you can get amazing amount of insights in a very high level of accuracy as you like. So really, it's a powerful, but as long as you know how to leverage data uh, properly. Without good data architecture, you cannot leverage AI very effectively. Okay. Any question before I move? All right. So how does it work? So actually, it works rather pretty straightforward. It can work with any number of data collection process. It can be accelerators, example that payment give, scholarship programs, students, volunteers, fund managers, companies. I can go on and on. And if you want to see what else can we do with it, literally you can go to SOPEC website and you can see the hundreds of use cases from the training evaluation to the accelerators, and you can even play around with those a lot of the prompts in every one of them, and literally will see that for every one of them there are AI demos that you can try it out and run the different type of quality assessment or traction that I want to measure. I can do that in a matter of minutes. But let me explain the concept better. So this is a simple data collection product which allows you to con- have a very clean data at all the time. So if you just take the accelerator as an example, and many of you in this Zoom today are familiar with that. So accelerator model depends on essentially applying and setting up the application process. And I invite them. You design the, let's say, climate accelerators, or you design the climate design application. And then once you do that, you embed that particular forms on the website, and or you can send an email or anywhere you want, and people fill out. Once the data is in, the magic is in a really simply everyone gets a unique ID. So 111, 110. And by having unique ID, now I can find out, oh, this person hasn't provided this LinkedIn profile. And I can go back and send them email and say, hey, can you please fill out the LinkedIn profile because that's important for me to approve your application. Or I can do the red flag like that we saw here. Or I can do analysis of my resume or pitch deck, and I can get the analysis done in literally seconds. So sky is the limit in what you can do with the qualitative and quantitative data. And trust me, 95% of the data now should be in the future will be more on the qualitative because you can get a lot more insights into qualitative data than quantitative data. It's going to be unbiased data also. So that's why it's very important that you understand the power of data, which is really is often in a qualitative aspect of it. And guys, ask me any questions in the middle of it. Once you have this data, you can now collect the data in the form of anything I want. Let's say I'm an accelerator. I want to do due diligence process. I want to do program onboarding. I want to do the mid program in check-in, post program check-in. Anything I want, I can do the any kind of analysis at any time. So let's take some example of a company. And then as a company, let's say I'm working on this program where I have publicly available impact reports. And in this company, I want to see that this company has this data where I can see the results, where I publicly, um, I have this public report. So Tesla, everybody knows Tesla. So Tesla has their own impact report, and you can use that. Then another company I'm going to show is Saitam. Again, friend of mine who's a CEO of like at NVIDIA, based in Silicon Valley. And again, they have this company. Now, let's look at how it works. All I'm doing is essentially creating a prompt and writing a prompt. I'm going to create a very complete, consistent report out of that one. So the first report that came out is for the Tesla, as you can see here. And I'm going to show you the prompt in a minute so you can understand how it works. But let's look at the output first. So this, and it literally took me 3 minutes to build this thing. So you can see the Tesla CEO and the aggregated results. But underneath, you can see these results. Um, let's look at this. 2,000 employees, 200,000, only 1,000 female employees. So immediately you can see that rather than me spending hours going through the PDF document, now I know there's a huge gap. So let's say my goal as a fund manager is to see the discrepancy in a male and female ratio. And clearly, just looking at this thing, you can see that CEO name wasn't provided. Total employees 200, 2,000. That's the one. That's a huge differential. I can also go through the anything I want from governance to materiality to CFD alignment for Europe, supply chain, environment, product and safety, people, and overall safety. I can do exactly the same thing for another company, which is Saitam. And for Saitam, obviously, it can also create a similar report, same metrics, and I can get these results. And the best part is that once it's all done, I can have the results being created for me, where I can create um, aggregated reports. So let's say I have a portfolio of 100 companies that I want to analyze. Now I can say Tesla as this key indicators, Cargill as this indicator, Saipem as this, and this is the aggregated report. And even if the metrics are different in every report, I can say that from this report, this metrics and this metrics, because they are really together, same metrics, and I can really align them together in a way that I can extract it. So how does the magic work? The magic works is that you can design as many reports from a specific cell, which can be like a PDF document or can be row, so it can be at the step level, or column, so I can do the causality, or at the more at the grid level. So let's look at the grid level. So I build this. I want to really understand that this one thing is I want to see how this report requires that you, and I'm going to name it ESG evaluation report. I'm gonna say extract this information, and when you extract it, make sure you look for it, because if you don't do that, you're gonna get very fuzzy. Everybody calls hallucination effect. So giving a context and knowledge is extremely important in getting very high quality insights. So being very clear about where the source is, where the thing is very important. How do you aggregate the results from multiple impact reports? What should be part of the footer, and obviously how the thing should be presented. So all those things literally do it. You run this thing, and we run, and obviously it creates HTML and thing, and I like it. I save it, and within 3 minutes, I have a report that I want. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. I can do any kind of data collection and any kind of analysis instead of months in a minutes. There is no there's no magic here other than that making sure the data you're collecting is clean, and that's what our goal is, to help you make sure you're collecting right data, you have right prompt, and you can analyze the results at any time. And instead of waiting for months, you are literally taking on a daily basis. You go, and if you're a big team, marketing, customer success, they all have different need, and you can create as many reports you like depending on what their interests are. And so we have an example, sir. I can create 20 different reports from the same data, as long as you have a different needs, because everybody have data can be one, but the use can be very, very different. But that's the beauty of it, because now if I have a data from and different team has different need, I can literally create all sort of reports simply by writing the prompting and based on what you want to learn. So I'm gonna end my presentation here. I hope that this really generated some exciting interest in this thing. Like I said, it's a new way of how people will be collecting and leveraging the data. If you're doing old-fashioned way, I think your time is over. It's time to move on to the new approach and start to rethink how you leverage the data in a different way. So hope I generated a lot of interest, and happy to answer any questions on what we are doing.
Any questions from anybody? Okay. I think we'll thank Unmesh for doing this. It's certainly very informative, very interesting to see a lot of the ways that the AI is being used in data collection. And what impressed me was taking something that would normally take 3 months and turn it into 3 minutes. It's a tremendous, tremendously efficient model, and it's going to have a big future. Thank you so much for your talk. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and I'm just leaving there my website, so you can look it out, and if there's an
Oh yeah, do
interest,
that. Yes,
you
please
can
do.
you can connect with me on that as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Professor Habib,
Yes, how are you?
they're calling your number.
I'm so sorry that hopefully I missed the timing because it's over midnight. I thought it's the tomorrow, but it's today. So thank you so much, Hanadi, for informing that right way that this is the time for me. Thank you. So should I start?
Surely, please.
Is it visible? You see the slide?
Yes, yes.
So first of all, I'd like to give a special thanks to the organizing committee to inviting me deliver the keynote speech. Basically, today I'd like to talk about technology enabled supply chain and the total quality management for business excellence. So as a business professor, I like to highlight the how we can ensure the business excellence. So the technology-driven supply chain and total quality management. Or if you look very carefully, business excellence, we have in the few parameters. So first of all, the total quality management and supply chain management, technological advancement, globalization, environment friendly. So we should think about the 3R, how we can apply sustainability, ESG metrics, environment, social and governance, and emotional intelligence. So based on these few parameters, we can think how can we create business excellence. I'd like to start by the total quality management. If you ask me about the total quality management in business excellence, how can we incorporate? We'd like to highlight the two things. One is that stakeholder satisfaction means we should think about the all relevant parties satisfaction. We should not think only just customer satisfaction. It means that we should think about like the all stakeholder satisfaction. And then, but secondly, the continuous improvement, Kaizen. So you have to set our goals, and it should be the SMART goals. How could we ensure the SMART goals? And our target is that we have to achieve gradually. So that's why we like to use the term, the continuous improvement, Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese term, so we like to apply in the business field. How we can apply this Kaizen concept, the gradual improvement. So what I mentioned just now, we have to set our goals. If we have set our goals and then SMART goals, then best of we can decide how can you go to the next level. And basically, when you talk about the total quality management, there is one question is that there is a traditional view and then total quality management view. And in the modern era, technological advancement era, we should think of the TQM view. On the other hand, earlier we use the traditional view. In the TQM view, we should think about that quality increase means productivity will increase. And it means that there is some correlationship between the productivity and quality. But earlier we thought that no, if you think about the quality increase, then productivity will be decreased. And there is some of the like the phobia is that if we apply the technology, there are few human resources who will lose the job. It is a wrong concept. We should adapt the technology, and humans should work with the technology as well. And this is some of the parameters. I don't want to discuss too much about this one, the difference between the continuous improvement and the traditional approach. But keep in mind that when you do our target is the business excellence, make sure that we have to create the environment. We call it problem-solving environment. We should think about the long-term focus rather than short-term focus. We should think about the continuous improvement, what I said earlier, that rather than the instant improvement. And now when you talk about the total quality management, then we have to think about this one, integrated TQM model. If you look very carefully here, I mentioned a few things. When you talk about the integrated TQM model, we should think about the human resource excellence. We should think of the product and process excellence. We should think of the management leadership. So within these three factors, our main focusing point is the customer. So ultimately, we have to come up with the decision of the customer focusing. How can we ensure the satisfaction level? If you look very carefully, management leadership, basically, the total quality management, this will come up from the top management. So you should think about the 100% commitment. We should think about the motivation to employees. Definitely, the vision is very important. And usually, the top management, they have to drive the total quality management. They have to initiate the total quality management concept. And when you talk about the product and process excellence, it is the middle one, input, process, and output. And here you have to think about this one continuous improvement, what I said earlier, preventing measurement, proactiveness rather than reactive measurement, documentation. We have to depend on the big data. Just a few minutes before my previous speaker, he just talked about this on big data. So how can I keep this all data-driven, data-centric decision making? So decision will be data-based, data-centric, instead of the opinion-based. And comes next on the humanist excellence. If you will ask me about the talk about the humanist excellence, then I would start in this way. Our humanist is our asset. So now we have to start to think how can you keep them as an asset for the society. We should think about the training program. We can do the training program, and definitely we should do some team building. And that is very interesting thing is that we should create this environment that our all employees they have to think of the team building. Usually that most of the organization they do not think too much about the team building. Sometimes they are thinking about the personal development. It should be the professional development, team development. So how can we create this kind of team development? It is not very easy things. This is the one kind of learning from us. How can we ensure that human is excellence? And we should think of the information flow from the supplier to customer end. And here information flow means communication flow, we have to think. And cross-functional style. We should think about the cross-functional style. Make sure that all your team, they have a communication, they have a relationship. So make sure that we have to understand this one, that all cross-functional discussion, the different department in the organization, they have to need the collaboration with each other. As we are talking about this one, I like to make sure one thing is that our ultimate target is that total quality management. How could we ensure this total quality management? Now, this is some of the example role of the TQM leaders. Like all are responsible for the quality improvement, especially the senior management and CEO. Senior manager must practice MBWA, management by walking around. So you should think about this one, the management by walking around. So how you understand management by walking around, you have to ensure this one. Ensure that the team's decision is in harmony with the calling statement of the organization. So this is very important that how could you ensure these kind of things? The team's decision is a harmony, synchronize. Senior total quality management leaders must read the TQM literature and attend the conferences to be aware of the TQM tools and methods. Look, TQM literature. So they should join the conference. They have to learn it and they have to apply this one. And senior manager must take the part in the award ceremony recognition process. Definitely, they should think about that coaching and the others and teaching in the TQM seminars. Senior manager must focus on the internal and external small group, focus group survey, and definitely they should be live and communicate. What is the outcome they have to share with others, so that all team members they have to be familiar with this kind of things. Supply chain knowledge for the entrepreneurs. What I said earlier just now, I'm talking about the total quality management. So when I talk about the total quality management, the top management they will take the decision. Now we are talking about the supply chain knowledge for the entrepreneurs. So this is our target, entrepreneurship, and technology will be there. So now let us start. They have to need the knowledge of supply chain management. So they have to know this one. What is supply chain? There's a one chain that will start from supply and finish with the customer end, raw materials to finished product, flow of goods for manufacturing industry, flow of service for the service industry, flow of information, and flow of fund. So make sure that we have to ensure these few things. That when you are in the top management, you are the entrepreneur, you have to remember these few things. We have to make sure that collaborative works. Just now I mentioned the three basic entities in the supply chain. Raw materials come from supply end. After the process, finished product deal with the customer end. Flow of goods, flow of information, flow of funds. Three flow you have to think. By the way, we can apply the supply chain management concept in manufacturing industry as well as service industry. Sorry. Manufacturing industry means flow of goods, but service industry flow of service. And there is a lot of example of the manufacturing industry, service industry. We can apply the supply chain management concept. This is among the example: vegetable supply chain, poultry supply chain, fishing industry supply chain, RMG supply chain, textile supply chain, apparel supply chain, so on. Even we can apply in the service industry. education supply chain, hospital supply chain, tourism supply chain, banking industry supply chain. So that way you can apply the supply chain management in the manufacturing industry as well as in the service industry. But keep in mind, there is one fundamental difference between the manufacturing industry and service and supply chain management. When you talk about the supply chain management in the service industry, is hospital, like education institutions. Then our main target, how we can contribute to the society, society contribution. How we can contribute to the society, society contribution. Manufacturing industry, their main target, improving the operations, business excellence, better outcomes, increase in profit, something like that. This is sorry, three decision level of supply chain management. Basically, you have to think about the three decision levels: strategic, planning, operating level. Strategic level is the top level management, middle level means the planning level, and the line level is operations level. So basically, whatever you do, strategic decision, planning decision, and operation decision, all decision will start from the strategic decision here, and then it will go to the planning level, and from there it will be executed by the operation level. So what I said here, the decision will start from the strategic, and then it will be the carry forward by the planning level. Finally, it will be executed by the operation level.
Hello.
Basically, there is two strategy, supply chain strategy. One is the responsive supply chain strategy, and the efficiency supply chain strategy. A responsive supply chain strategy means quick response, high quality, high cost. And efficient supply chain strategy means cost effectiveness, cost compromise, low quality, and then low response. So now come to the question is that whatever we do, we are applying the responsive supply chain or we are applying the efficient supply chain. The main concept is that we have to make sure the three decision level: strategic, planning, operating level. So what I mentioned here, so you have to decide at first, do you want to apply the response supply chain strategy or you like to apply the efficient supply chain strategy? Then you have to think how can I apply the three decision level. Now, we got the idea, we are talking about the business excellence. We talk about the total management. We talk about the supply chain management. Now, digital innovation. Basically, the digital innovation means we have to think the modern digital technology to adopt to solve the business problems by optimizing processes, improving the business customer satisfactions, and then the new business models. So in that case, maybe we can apply that IoT, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, big data, chatbots, and so on. And we have to apply this technology in our supply chain management. I mentioned earlier, artificial intelligence, machine learning, industrial revolution 4.0, 5.0, automation, cloud computing. I like to give the one example so they can think. I say we have to take the decision based on the big data. Means the last 5 years data, you have to check last 10 years data, then come up with the decision. But without the big data, you cannot come up with the decision. And secondly, suppose you are sending the products from the one place to another place by the truck. And 30 years before, you have to call the truck driver, where are you now? But now this is not necessary. We have the GPS system, vehicle tracking system, so you can track the driver where the driver is now. So it means the technology has given the empowerment to taking some decisions. And now come to the question that what is our future? I like to take this only 2 minutes. Basically, our future is the technology driven. You like to become the entrepreneur, you have to know the technology. How can you apply the technology? You like to become any kind of multinational company like to work, you have to know this one, technology application. So maybe in future, we should go to the automation and small batch production. And in that case, maybe the decentralization of the manufacturing capacity. And you should think of the rapid wholesale digitization. And what I mentioned here, if you look very carefully, our existing buyer-supplier relationship should be changed. Now it should be digitalized, so that the fundamental element of building the robust supply chain, we can do this one. We should think about the application of technology in supply chain so that we can quickly take the decision. And any kind of disruption, supply chain disruption noticed during the pandemic time. During the Russia-Ukraine war, we also noticed. During the Middle East war, we also noticed. So in that case, how this kind of disruption will be will be resolved. So we need the resilient supply chain. The technology is only one option to resolve this kind of disruption. Finally, let us start to think, create, and produce a smart, as our industry-driven resilient supply chain with maintained ecosystems. Everything will be environment friendly. What I mentioned here, we are talking about the business excellence, and what you mentioned that there's a few key points out there. We discussed most of the key points. I'd like to remind you again of what you said in that first: product quality management for the business excellence, supply chain management, technological advancement, globalization. Nowadays, without the globalization, you cannot do anything. It's a global platform you have to go. And any kind of decision should be environment friendly. Without the decision against the environment, you cannot do anything. And as we are talking about the SDG goals, so sustainability is very important key issues. A lot of research is going on the ESG metrics. How can I apply the ESG metrics? And finally, when you think about as entrepreneurship, as a entrepreneur, new entrepreneur, you have to think the emotional intelligence of the human. You have to treat your human resource as an asset. You have to treat your human resource that how you can handle them softly. So how can you increase the productivity? So we call it emotional intelligence. So that's all from my side. If you have any question, feel free to ask the question.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? I see we're applying artificial intelligence to supply chain management. And as you pointed out, there's a lot of areas where things can improve and have the whole supply chain move more efficiently. Very interesting. Any other questions? We're a little short of time. Okay, thank you so much, Professor Habib. I appreciate
My pleasure.
this.
Thank you.
Everybody
Thank
else
you
did.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I think next we have, who do we have? I'm not sure how I pronounce this. Last name is Puyan. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
My apologies. I think maybe next is me, the Professor Huda Al-Khazemi.
Hanadi, who's next?
Yeah, that's me. I think she's saying Professor Huda, but we cannot hear her voice clearly.
Okay. Huda, I think you're next.
Okay. Allow me a minute to switch on my to my slides.
Okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Does Dr. Habib have to turn his slides off? Ah, there we go.
Thank you.
All right. Hoda, can you turn yours on?
Yes, give me a minute.
Surely.
Professor Mark, Dr. Huda, she's participating last year, and you are so interesting from her presentation. And you asked me about her contact number. It's again this year she will be participating. I know she will contribute perfectly.
Okay, good.
Inshallah,
Thank
ya
you.
Rab.
Thank you.
So I'd like to start by saying an extreme thank you to Professor Michael and to Hanadi and the organizers of this conference for their, resilience and making sure that this conversation stays in the public arena to the best we can see. Can you see my slides?
Yeah. We can see your name.
Yeah, the landing slides. You can see the first slide.
No, okay, we got it. Yeah, we're good.
Yes. So good evening, respected colleagues, distinguished panelists and guests, and good morning and good afternoon, wherever you're connected from the world. Again, my sincere gratitude to Hanadi and the team for organizing and bringing us together for this vital conversation on how artificial intelligence is actually reshaping the economies and enabling diversification across board, not just in talent development, but in building smart nations, as we call them smart nations. And we'll know in a while why do we call them smart nations. So imagine imagine that we are living in a desert city, abandoned in sunlight and ambition, where sand dunes meet data centers and drones and deliver parcels. That's not actually fiction. It's here in the Middle East. It's part of a UAE native story at the moment. Artificial intelligence have moved us from lab to factory and to factory room. And in UAE, we have managed this year to build over 80 use case scenarios of how are we using AI in the heart of government and in the heart of industrialized society. So it's actually a field of science where we have seen how scientific research touch data and real world deployment globally. And we know as we are speaking that the global AI market, and this is a data points that we have discussed last year, by 2030, in less than 6 years from now, or actually at this moment, 5 years from now, we are standing in an additional GDP value of 2 trillion USDs, which is a growing approximate of a combined growth of 37% from where we were standing in 2023. In short, AI is not just another IT upgrade. It is the architectural new industrial wave that we're seeing the world leading through. We're talking about the underestimated value of 15.7 trillion. I'm sure you understand, and you've seen this number before, to a vital growth of anticipation of approximately maybe additional 5 to a total of 20 trillion from improved productivity to increased consumption. When it comes to regional booth in different jurisdiction, we're seeing countries like China increasing the GDP by 26%. North America is standing to up to 14%, but maybe we are gonna see more than that. And UAE as well standing to gain a 14% perspective. And I want you to notice those data points because you are talking about a developing economy where there is a huge investment in AI stack, AI infrastructure, and architecture, to an economy where we are also speaking on a deployment strategies aspects and how we can take it into scalable a global norm. So from an emerging market perspective, the participation that comes from this part of the world, from the GCC, has increased massively the AI launch globally, and we are seeing more of a critical positive lever exist on future economies output. So when we want to discuss AI as an engine of growth, I want you to focus on more than just the scale of opportunity that had existed on the table. Let me anchor these numbers on a better spectrum on how we are switching the time story of for countries moving from oil economy to algorithmic economy. In the UAE, we have seen more than 90% of businesses now regarding AI as a critical future growth kind of catalyst, where it's part of the future economy of the country. And 80% of those firms and organization are preparing for integration of new models of AI. And when I'm saying AI, I mean the wider spectrum of AI and not just generative AI models. The whole ecosystem spectrum, not just in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi, has been built to build over, as I said, for example, in Road and Transportation Authority in Dubai itself and alone, we are seeing over 40 real world AI stories, use cases on smart parking, on traffic flow, on optimization and generative chatbots and services that cuts travel duration by 20 to 30%, and improve operational efficiencies by 20 to by 10 to 20% across the region. We are seeing as well a huge spectrum of movement towards improving the number of SMEs that come across joint participation structure on AI resources and platforms that are being developed on hyperscaler data centers, on mixed energy grids that exist across the map, and as well on a different layer of a conglomerate emerging technologies that we spoke about last time. We've seen that AI was the foundational story that provides for over 200 technology, including quantum and robotics and others. So all the SME kind of paradox that are also being developed in the spectrum and in UAE, for example, and particularly I'm using it as a use case at the moment to tell you the story that we decided to open here in UAE, not a single AI campus, but two AI campuses. One AI campus focusing on hyperscalers in collaboration with Stargate in the United States, and another AI campus with the IFC focusing on deployment business cases so we can actually scale up the smart nation capacities, not just for UAE, but for the global spectrum, where it's about a global sandbox for more projects and opportunities that will transform the realities. So, in terms of real cases, we talked about smart mobility structures, but also we are going to talk about the case where AI is driving non-oil growth GDP within the UAE. We have said that it's expected to contribute to 14% of our GDP and support economic diversification by boosting in oil industries. And we've seen as well sovereign wealth fund get into, sorry, you can see that. Sovereign wealth funds get into building their own AI subsidiaries, and as well our own national oil and gas building for their own AI as well subsidiaries that are aiming to amplify and the supply chain kind of efficiencies around AI, so we can bring that kind of I would say API global corporate box to the world. Our focus is not just within oil and gas and smart city initiatives, as I said within RTA example, but also we are very much invested for healthcare, education, and finance, as well as how can we integrate them as an indigenous and new economic value streams in different kind of aspects across the industry. So the priorities here are being matched by making sure that the work force and skill side is part of the ecosystem development, where we have established the first AI university in the world, and that bumps into the first cohorts, the first three cohorts. We're focusing on graduate level research of PhD and master students. The first cohort of undergraduates is going out this year in order to make sure that there is a massive upskilling programs towards how we build national kind of skill force. And UAE was one of them amidst the global forces that built for chief AI kind of jobs to exist within the executive structure, within the governments, and within private sector. So technology only matters if a human can harness it. And this is the most important question that we have to address if we are trying to build for transformational skill force. So regardless of what the World Economic Forum report says on employability and jobs by 2030, we know that AI will be creating more opportunities of jobs. I think the recent survey says 69% of the new jobs are going to be created, yet 69 million jobs will be created versus 83 million jobs that are being, lost in the job market. We have a net loss of 14 million roles. 14 million roles are not really a small number on a global economic campus. And we're seeing that on a daily basis. Just yesterday, I'm sure many of you read the news on the layoffs of Amazons and others, and the optimizations around AI jobs that existed in the big tech companies around the world. But numbers sometimes don't tell the full stories. In certain countries, we've noticed that companies report on readiness that integrates, for example, AI tools and improve productivity talent pipelines as well. And this will generate new informal opportunities for the AI economy that did not exist in the past. So maybe the numbers that we are reporting at the moment, they're massively reporting into a stream of pathways that exist within the formal kind of forecasted story of transformational agency within the task force. So when it comes to analyzing the different structures of AI adoption across key sectors and those transformation that happened within those kind of structure, it's important to understand what do we mean by smart economy, because it's not a buzzword. It's actually a blueprint where a smart economy is the one that is based on the agility structure of building faster on a conglomerate of different assets. And respecting that within the current cycle, we're not following a trend. It's not just about investing in AI. It's investing in a foundational infrastructure that will support growth to over 200 disruptive industries and not just technologies. So investment in data centers, investments in sensors, devices, and citizens, investments into a technology infrastructure that comes into algorithm economy, decisions once done by slower human processes within these smart nations will be automated and optimized. A human will be always on the loop, or human-centric technologies will be paramount within those smart economies. Public services will continuously and adaptively learn about citizen views of governmental service, and they will self-optimize for the best case scenarios that might exist. In such an economy, operational cost savings will be at least 20 to 40% on a constant level. So public services, again, are not dreams. When we are talking about healthcare, education, smart city infrastructure is going to be part of this I would say, services arena. And the principle that we are trying to guide this conversation with is the fact that we are developing for more than just what you're seeing on the slide here on financial fintech kind of a story of optimization, where over 70% of AI will use banks will use AI services for assessment and regulatory compliance, and AI will enhance decision making. It's actually AI will create the new sandbox of opportunities that would create the new type of business that would exist on a fintech structure. I'm not sure how many if you are hearing on everyday basis about the power of AI agents that exist in a financial sector now that are running to do quantitative finance analytics on mass portfolio of investments, and they're trying to copycat the best investors on the market and replicate their investment portfolio. So while we're talking here, your AI investment agent could be doing your own investment on your behalf, and actually you could earn passively on the different market structures that exist out there. This is one of the models that we've seen across the globe. When it comes to healthcare, AI-driven diagnostics, AI-driven as well analytics that would support the medical team in general and healthcare provider provide better services to higher outreach of service, especially in developing economies, is something that is actually one of the significant cases and use cases that we are trying to amplify across the map. So, in order for us to understand the paradigm of a smart economy, it goes beyond just the definition and the complexity of resources that should be provided. It's actually an optimization of resources that would be used to reduce cost and improve service delivery across the map, and also integration of data analytics of all kind of lead emerging technology components in order to foster better innovation and economic opportunities across societies and provide better adaptability. This could be communities in Africa, communities in Asia, communities in South America, and it's not just restricted to use cases within global north where this technology is at paramount being developed at the moment. So, in terms of transforming public infrastructure with AI efficiency, we have seen, as I said, around all of these kind of examples, a multitude of services that are being provided. However, foundational technologies don't just come with kind of a dreamy notion of impossibilities. Yes, we are building the global smart economy test bed, and that's not just the UAE, the United States, China, and other parts of the world in Europe and Asia. You hear the AI story being replicated in Singapore, in Philippines, in Egypt, in Nigeria, in Rwanda, and other parts of the world. But also with building this ecosystem of universities, of government strategies, of public sector and private sector partnerships. Actually, it's more than public, it's the triple Bs at the moment. It's public-private partnerships and also the personal level partnership that exists in between the citizens. So all of these kind of aspects are foundational to improve the hidden backbone of an AI infrastructure. AI does not float by itself. It resets on three, I would say, foundational pillars. The first pillar is compute and chips, where the global pipeline at the moment for semiconductor infrastructure in the hundreds of billions of dollars. AI training already consumes around 1% of global electricity usage. So there will be an inflection tipping point where we will disrupt how we create technology. The way we create a new energy structure will be different. The new battery structure for AI will be different in different jurisdictions, because there is also this kind of back end, I would say, reliability and dependency on critical mineral infrastructure that exists in a choking point, monopolistic aspects in certain countries, and then can be tokenized in a global geopolitical power shift, in wars and a rising conflict. So for us, building this technology brings in to the map a multitude of questions that we have discussed today. Actually, I was telling Dr. and Professor Hanadi in Abu Dhabi Strategic Dialogue today the importance of building independent data structures that you cannot feed the algorithm if you don't feed them the data. We've seen countries around the world racing for building their own algorithmic infrastructure, their own data infrastructure. So it's never the data without the algorithm anymore, and has constructed a strong digital kind of sovereignty understanding across the world. When it comes to green compute, I think many of us have heard now in the GCC and in different regions around the world the importance of mixed grid architecture that is basically paramountly, critically centered around green technologies and green energy structures. As AI expand, the energy consumption of carbon and footprint across the globe would matter for us. Sustainable design is now inherited into those smart economy. You've heard a grid structure that is based on hydros, on on thermals, on solar, on small nuclear reactors, as well as on oil and gas and other kind of standard grid infrastructure. When we map these clusters together, we intertwine them into one understanding of a smart industrial economy to our phone screens at the end of the day. So the smart economy presence within the GCC, when you look at it, what would be the different mapping infrastructure that we have? You have, for example, the digital economy strategy in Dubai that aims to have a 20% GDP contribution by 2031, featuring AI labs and digital twins enhanced Abu Dhabi urban planning platform within Abu Dhabi Smart City kind of lab that is being initiated within Abu Dhabi municipality, for example. Saudi Arabia with NEOM projects invested over 1 billion in AI-based city infrastructure to exemplify the importance of next generation technologies within the urban design of the city, where it's not empowered, it's overpowered by technology, but it's empowered by the centric value of a human service when it comes to using this technology. Qatar used AI use cases across their healthcare infrastructure for over 43% improvement on productivity. And then we have seen other kind of commitments coming into diversified structure from the GCC aspects. AI is
Excuse me,
not just
Dr. Hoda.
yeah.
Excuse me a second. This is extremely interesting, and I wish we had more time. We're kind of running out of time.
Okay, I have 2 slides, I think, and we're done. So
Okay, thank you so much.
we
I'm sorry
can.
to interrupt you. It's very informative. It's just
God
we're running
bless.
out of time. I'm so
I
sorry.
think we talked about the mass of it. And so I will just want to close on another metaphor in this aspects, maybe not on uh, on the strategic imperative that when we want to build for this technology, it's not building for functionality, but building for human responsibility, establishing this national assets, and global assets as well when it comes to AI. It does not come at two opposites and two tensions. Countries have to establish national data trust framework and national assets, and they have to work collaboratively on a global level so they can enable cross-border data interoperability, so they can build for a better future. Let me close with a metaphor again. Think of a traditional economy, heavy, rigid, and exposed to elements like tall glass towers in the desert wind. Now imagine a mesh of a structure, lightweight, adaptive, and able to regenerate itself, and able to learn from a very extreme desert climate. That's the smart economy. By embedding AI into the fabric of our industries and cities and institutions, we create economies that learn, adapt, and grow at a faster rate. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for my next speaker for their extreme patience. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and my contacts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hoda. That was extremely, that was extremely informative. I wish we had more time to listen to it. I was extremely interested in what you had to say. What stuck out of my mind is that AI should create 69 million new jobs, but lose 83 million jobs. So in the short term, maybe 5, 6, 8 years, we're going to have to deal with that job loss. In the long term, making workers more productive using AI, I think will be a very positive thing. Thank you so much for your talk. I personally learned a lot myself. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you can stop sharing your screen. Hanadi, who's next? You're muted, Hanadi. Yeah, just barely. It's either Charles or I'll butcher your name. Piredeir.
I'm Puyan, Michelle.
Puyan is the last name.
Yep.
I got that one. That was not bad. How about if you go next? Is that good, Hanadi?
I mean, yeah, I was supposed to start earlier. No worries. I'm ready if you wish.
Okay, fire when ready.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Professor Whistler and Dr. Nadi. It's my pleasure to be here today. So today can you see my slides? I'm wondering if
No.
it's shared. Okay, let me just check 1 second. It should be now, hopefully presented. If not, again, keep me posted
There you
whenever you
go.
saw it,
There you
please.
go.
You can see it
There-
now. Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
So today I am going to present leveraging IP and patent analytics for innovation and startup success. Actually, we were supposed to provide you some insights about AI and artificial intelligence as well. But as I'm representing the whole IP analytics section of World Intellectual Property Organization, that I will be going a bit later to explain who we are and what we do. Actually, we try to kind of tailor both how IP analytics is being used by global entrepreneurs or inventors worldwide, and we're gonna teach and train and even provide some insight how you can use this secret weapon of these entrepreneurs worldwide. I'm sure you're all familiar with this topic as well, so I'm not gonna stop a lot in the basic parts, but still gonna review a bit. And I'm Puyan Pirader. I'm a young expert in technology and innovation support division of IP for Innovators Department in IES sector of World Intellectual Property Organization. A bit about me, you can always reach out also, that's my LinkedIn. Well, I'm a young expert in actually 2 divisions working in parallel, and I had my mechanical engineering and maybe more than 10 years of experience as an inventor, and having 5 proudly failed startup and more than 3 active ones already. I own more than 10 patents, and I brought these insights to intellectual property law and world intellectual property to make IP accessible for everyone. First of all, I tried to reach out via the questionnaire earlier on the application, but I guess it was not functioning or people couldn't reply. But just very briefly reviewing what is intellectual property, because that's going to be used a lot, the word IP. So we would say very simply, IP is improving the lives of everyone everywhere. And creators and innovators worldwide use IP to translate their ideas, which is the intangible asset, to tangible assets. And these properties create economic and social benefits that improves the lives of people everywhere. That's how we believe it's going to contribute to the world. And at WIPO, we play a major role in this, and we do it through 4 areas. We support, we provide services, we are the global forum for this discussion in the world, so-called, I call it the IP temple of the world, and also outreach. And I would like to invite you to have this very short and brief booklet of our publications to have a bit more concept of what is intellectual property. That's a very great short handbook, and it's going to help you if you don't have any background about IP. Just for a quick review also, like, it's a famous example whenever we are in the IP classes or patents and so on, that we try to start with the device that everyone has in hands these days, smartphone. So in a simple like mobile phone, you can find different types of intellectual property and protection ways of these intangible assets, namely trademark, which are all the brands, logos, and even the icon apps you have these days. Actually, patents, which is the most important and famous ones nowadays. And today I'm going to address a lot and use it a lot. And utility models, which are so-called also PD patents, like the small version of patent that protects the technology and data processing and many other functions and ideas behind the smartphones. Design, which is mostly the shape and aesthetic protection. Also trade secrets, which is a very great competitor of patents, which I'm going to explain a bit more later on, that you can keep it as a secret, not publish or patent it. And also copyright, which is well known, and it's usually about whatever you publish, like software is also included in this matter. I had a very quick video to introduce us to you, but I'm going to skip it to save a bit of time, I guess. So I'm just going to give you again the QR code if you're happy to know more in just 2-3 minutes what is IP and what is WIPO. It's going to be much more better than my presentation for sure. So please scan it and then take your time to watch it with more time and focus. But a little bit more about this temple of IP, I call, like where 194 member states and countries unite for innovation. Actually, we are the most related UN agency related to innovation, and the World Intellectual Property Organization. We do, I mean, I'm sure you all know about that very well, but our global, sorry? I heard someone, but I couldn't catch the, okay, I guess it was not mine. Anyway, so I would just skip this part quicker, but in World Intellectual Property, like we are the United Nations agency that serve the world's innovators and creators. That's a simple and very straightforward way of comparing and trying to provide the services worldwide. And then we ensure that the idea of these innovators and inventors travel safely to the market and improve lives everywhere. And a bit of information about WIPO, and within WIPO we have different sectors, namely 8, and one of the sectors is called IP and Innovation Ecosystem, which I'm working in as well, and Mr. Marco Aleman, who is our Assistant Director General in this sector, who gave also a presentation 2 years ago in this keynote speaking this actually conference as well. And this is how we are ensuring that in the structure of our sectoral work, our sector focus on empowering innovation, delivering evidence-based insights, and we facilitate even dispute resolution. So we have like a triangle way of making sure this focus works for them. And the pillars or those two main like focuses, when mixes together, creates IP for Innovators Department, and our mandate is to provide local innovation support to innovation stakeholders and facilitate global technology transfer, diversity and inclusion. And what's crucial for today's discussion is how this like IPID department shapes the most important part I'm going to discuss with you about this secret weapon or toolkit for entrepreneurs. So here is the main question, and I would call it the 10K question for every entrepreneur. So literally, the average cost for filing a patent, depending on where you are in the world, may vary between 5,000, 10,000, or even less in some countries. But the dilemma will be, should I patent or not to patent? But I mean, I'm hoping if anyone doesn't have like maybe in detailed idea about what's patent, I'm happy to address your questions right away, because we're going to discuss mostly about patents today, and we need to know what is patent actually. I'm trying to see if anyone had anything on the chat so far. No. So I'm going to follow that. While you're patenting, you are having a protection, both inventor or investor, which is different on patents. Remember that we have a signee or applicant, which is the owner of the right, and we do have an inventor who has the scientific and the idea behind that. He may not receive any money if someone sells the invention or patent, if the applicant or the main actually assignee won't give him a share. So the inventor or investor would have exclusive rights, usually 20 years, like on average, and it's all territorial. So if you patent your invention, for example, in United States, you cannot protect it in elsewhere in the world unless they have an internal agreement or it's a regional like patent regime as well. And this limited duration makes the big challenge for some emerging technologies like AI, and I will be discussing a bit later. And by this trade between the government or the jurisdiction button, when you are getting this exclusive right, you are disclosing the whole information, the secret of your patent, the idea behind that, how it works, to the public. So that's like a deal. Okay, I'll get an exclusive right from you, but I'll give all my information in a way that everyone can build from scratch this invention at home. I mean, I'm just like making it very easy, but examiners make sure that this patent is disclosed fully to grant it and make it a real patent. So it must be a full document. It's going to be globally published, and then it's going to be permanently on the publication or gazettes or whatever online platform you can find. So you can easily find patents from 80s, 70s. I mean, even before that, whenever the patent system was invented in your country, and then you will have this like document forever there. So sometimes that's the big dilemma for entrepreneurs. Should I publicly disclose my information, or I just mentioned, for example, the trade secrets, the famous trade secret holder in the world, Coca-Cola. They never patented. I mean, I'm not going to go into details if they could patent or not, but they never patented their recipe or formula. It's been a trade secret over 120, 30 years so far, and no one knows what's the secret. And they could keep it much, much more than 20 years. And to be honest, sometimes it's going to cost you less because depending. And if they have patented it, competitors could have legally copied it, in 1905, 1910. So it's been longer. And this defensive way of protection or offensive way of protection in patent is so-called this patent or IP strategy. I'm not going to go in details because then I'm even able to discuss another defensive way of securing your idea or protecting it by just publishing, like another strategy that you just publicly disclose your invention via a paper, or seeking without any patents. You just publish it and then you prevent others to patent it later, so everyone can access it and no one can get an exclusive right. So this balance and this question can be a full presentation in another day, hopefully, or sometime if you have any chance for this. But I just want to shed light on the part that when we patent it, we are also disclosing it, and this disclosure give us a great amount of and vast amounts of data. And what we see as patents is just the tip of iceberg. The previous presentation also was mentioned, the tip of iceberg, very common, most useful word maybe today. IP offices collectively host the planet's rich technology database with these patents, and hundreds of millions of records of patents are already published in the world. And the maybe tough or funny part is 3 million is being published even already and added each month. So that's a huge amount of money, as an amount of information and data, and yet turning this ocean of information into actionable decision making or intelligence remains very difficult. Most of value lies below the surface. The invisible without the right tools and skills is not possible. So now I should say welcome to the IP analytics world, where these big data meets big dreams of you. And imagine that you have access to over 100 million patents from more than 150 countries, containing all description details of their greatest ideas, and all searchable and analyzable in the real time. So this is patent analytics, and actually that's a very systematic evaluation and approach to this patent data to uncover insights about technological development and competitive landscape and market opportunities. So it's like having a crystal ball, just an example, I guess. Even I saw it in an AI generated text or document that they called it crystal ball that reveals where innovation is heading before it gets there. So you can even forecast, you can be a fortune teller in technology. That's actually we do in WIPO as well. I'm going to name a bit later. If you're interested, I'm just naming these platforms. Please Google and then try to even make try them at home. It's free, accessible for everyone. One of the WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization services. That's the WIPO data sources like PatentScope, which is the worldwide patent search database, free of access. You can see, you can filter from country, from technology and different parts, as well as maybe Madrid Monitor, which is for trademark database as well. So I hope you won't get lost and follow the data, follow the presentation here. And I'm just going to switch to the next slide by this word here. IP data is vast, but a unique source of information. So what do we do with this unique source of information? We use patent analytics to leverage the wealth of this knowledge contained in patent data, so-called 5 Ws, that I'm going to present in a moment, and we provide added value information and supporting the informed decision making. So this patent analytics involves the systematic evaluation, as I mentioned. So like publications that contain these data, like Patent Landscape Report or our technology trends, or we have Spark Report as well, very new child born in our section, are analytical documents that try to summarize, the existing patent data within the particular field, and they serve as the tool for stakeholders to uncover technology trends, and I mentioned, and more importantly, identify the gaps. What are those 5 Ws? In each patent document, you can see the names, which can contain a lot of background information and metadata, what's the main concept of the invention, which is a very important key area to discuss, and we can even find these like examples a bit later, and when, and also sometimes why, like they usually can hide it as well. These 5 Ws can be the most important measurable or evaluatable or systematic way of finding the technology aspects or the secrets behind a patented technology. And patents analytics, actually, by this, we unlock the value of patent data in a very structured way, easily to understandable by non-experts. So if you read it, if you just go through the data, you get lost. But that's very structured way, easy to digest. And also, we do visualizations of the results, and it's going to facilitate interdisciplinary dialogue. In some moments, I'm going to explain a bit more about all these users of patent analytics, but just listing them here, it's going to be a vast variety of target audiences, from governments, policymakers, inventors, investors, IP managers. But today we are focusing on startups, entrepreneurs, and inventors, and a bit investors as well. And this is, I call, the Entrepreneurs Analytics Toolkit. Look how many questions just a piece of IP analytics can answer. Patents are like, when you are sorting and aggregating this information into charts, visualizations, data, tables, you can uncover these insights that lead to strategic and data-backed decisions. And these are the questions that we can answer. Like, we can inform policies on R&D. We can even go through some technology transfer, like, for example, who is a potential acquisition target, or what partnership opportunities are available. If you just group them and categorize these questions in a way, I can show you 5 concrete even ways maybe IP analytics can supercharge your startup, I would call, and it's all backed by these metrics and performance, like perform data and evaluated data. These are questions that patent analytics can answer to support a business decision-making, for example, on startups. What new technology should be patented? Or see how your competitors distribute resources between different technologies within the sector, or an indication of where they see the potential, where they invest even, or where are they leading to, or where they succeed with research. The fact is, when you have a technology, you need to like on average, a patent procedure to be granted takes around 3 years. So if you are going to put this phone in the market, you're going to patent it now, much earlier than you commercialize. You put it in the market or start your sell. Otherwise, if you sell it before filing your patent, it means that you lost the priority, and then it's called the self-disclosure, and you only have a grace period in some countries not, to patent your idea if you already disclosed it in anywhere, like even an exhibition, even a publication, even in a TV interview. Whatever you do, even your brochure could be a document that proves that you had disclosed it in public earlier, and you lose the priority, so a prior art, and then it's going to be on public domain. So the examiner would reject your patent unless you use the grace period, which is sometimes 6 months to 1 year in different jurisdictions. Sorry. So in this manner, I just explained, when you see a filed patent, and when you file the patent, again, depending on the strategy, sometimes they pay for earlier publications, sometimes not. It takes like 18 months to be published, and then after like almost 3 years, 20 something months to 30 something months, it's going to be granted and patented. But since it's filed after 1 year and a half, almost 1 year, it's published and it's in public domain before even being granted. So if you go through the competitor's patents portfolio, the publications, if you do a search or if you do even analytics around them, you will know a lot of details about their future or next step. You can read their hands, like what's going to be their next card. So that's amazing. It's especially speaking of like competitors, like see how your competitors even distribute their resources. That's something amazing. And which like even markets they're focusing. You remember those 5 Ws? For example, imagine that you have a company as your competitor, and they have filed all their patents in a specific country in a continent. So you will see that, okay, they're going to focus on that market, which is maybe a very valuable data and information for you. I have several examples, but I prefer to go through the real examples. I don't want to, I'm not sure how much time I do have, but what I would like to focus is maybe real cases as well. And like this is like some questions about an investor side of the decision making, like market opportunities identification, I call. So by patent analytics, it can be revealed the white spaces, like it can reveal the white spaces where innovation is sparse. So a recent study even showed that startups using patent landscape analysis were 40% more likely to identify profitable market niches. So for example, while everyone is just patenting electric vehicle batteries, very few patents existed for wireless charging infrastructure. So it was $1 billion opportunity hiding in plain sight. So who noticed that gap could go through that and find the area to invest on. So maybe even who is actively acquiring patents in the sector to find them and negotiate and start. And also in maybe R&D, I would say the questions, for example, when you're investor, the inventor or a researcher or a university or just an individual inventor, IP analytics can transform this R&D from just expensive guesswork into strategic investment with predictable returns. That's what I'm talking about, the toolkit, or that's what I'm talking about, the crystal ball. So as an example, like the optimization of your R&D investment can be done easily by these questions answered. Like, for example, you just stop playing R&D roulette, just like wasting money, or patent analytics easily can show like exactly where to invest your limited resources when you're a university or you're an innovation center. As an example, like pharmaceuticals are using these I would say insights higher success rate of their drug developments, and studies shown even I guess it's written somewhere like 40% of higher success rates in drug development because they avoid overcrowded therapeutic area and focus on the unexplored opportunities. And many biotech examples and revenues behind that, and just naming some other applications of using patent analytics in R&D, namely partnership and licensing opportunities. You remember that the first W was name, who is the investors. So if you see billions of patents and then, like millions of patents and thousands owned by just one investor in the field, if you have a new idea, you want to go through a partnership, the name, the company, the investor. So like many medical device companies have found breakthrough partnership with aerospace firms. It doesn't make sense, but because both industries need similar, miniaturization technologies. Or when I was doing a project 2018 in CERN as the project in my summer school with WIPO and UNISH, I remember our case was a semiconductor case in CERN that was used, but then at the end of the day, it was a partnership and licensing to General Electric and other companies that they used it for medical devices and medical screening. So, and maybe we should say also freedom to operate, which is another context that it takes ages to explain, but also risk assessment and so on and so on. I hope this can give you a sort of insight, as you remember, by making easy to digest, this is a visual that our team prepared in WIPO in the graphite and its application PLR. We're gonna explain a bit more. I'm just focusing on the diagram to tell you a bit more. On the left side, you can see, for example, the rest of the world and China who owned or like filed more patents. So you can identify the richness of patents in which jurisdiction, or even the other competitors and areas where to file or where not to file, or where to file the investor or the right partner. For example, this report easily help us to identify emerging technologies and applications area for graphite. And by this report, we highlighted production capabilities and suggested many opportunities for investments in sustainable technologies and also in other practical implementation of like this technology. And by many, I mean, you can easily find many insights from them. Like one of the insights is to just which technologies are used, or like or including different sources of graphite, or process or methods for its production, graphite, product and their applications. So on the right side, for example, it has a focus on the patent families on the processing, and why that I will let you know a bit later who used it and how they used it. But just very briefly to wrap up, I want to draw your attention to the field of patent analytics, which expected to be exploded soon by just next 7 years to 240%, and it's going to be a market around 3.5 billion US dollars. So remember this name, patent analytics or IP analytics, and I'm going to just give you some real cases as well by some a review of our works. So in WIPO, also in that IP ID and IES sector of World Intellectual Property, we do have an IP analytics team. This photo shows only 5 of us. We are 6 actually. Brian is missing in this photo. And it was formed since 2010. And you can scan this QR code to explore 3 technology trends and more than 20 patent landscape reports for free that cost a lot for any company or any country to invest and publish or do this data analytics. Our section actually provide these data-driven analysis worldwide through our technology trend series and extensive portfolio of IP analytics. Please feel free to go through our website. It can be even start for very beginner's guide, and many other insights to knowing your biggest competitors or even your area of investment, and make sure your competitors are already working on that using external providers or in their team. That graphite example I just mentioned was not a case of a person or a startup. It was a case by Sri Lanka. So this country is the great source of graphite, but they're not developing the technology. So they ask WIPO, they are going to invest on technologies, but they don't know where to invest and how to start. So this patent landscape report, or namely like abbreviation is PLR, help them. You can scan this QR code and read the story. That's a very nice story written by my colleague, Lakshmi, which describes how they use this data and patent landscape to do a mining policy and how their country invested on the easy access and not, on the space, like the white space and not a reached area. Also, like I have some cases that maybe I can name by each pillar we have. So these are the three of our patent landscape reports. For example, in the area of generative AI or artificial intelligence, we have a patent landscape report, and maybe it's a good idea that give you a real example. I don't name them just for sake of privacy or as they're not present today. But for example, in Silicon Valley, there was an AI-based startup that was developing a facial recognition software. And when patent analysis revealed that the major of tech companies held comprehensive patent covering their intended approach, instead of proceeding into a patent like minefield, I'm calling it minefield, because if they go there, there will be like thousands, millions of investment needed to run a lawsuit. Instead of that, they analyzed white spaces and pivoted to an emotion recognition technology, a market with more than 90% fewer patents. And the same people, the same technology, the same startup pivoted in the right time before stepping in the minefield. And today, I mean, I can name them even, they're valued at 500 millions, and they have licensed their technology to major like entertainment companies to identify the emotion. So as an example, you can maybe find some case studies in our publications as well. In the field of agri-food, the same, or one of the most referred recent publications of us almost 2 years, less than 2 years ago, SDGs. We have mapped the whole innovation around United Nations SDG, and that's something that you can all find. But also, we do have at our works and free of access, WIPO Technology Trends. This is a flagship publication of our section and organization, and our 2019 WIT or WIPO Technology Trends publication was around artificial intelligence. It's been mostly like downloaded, I guess, most downloaded piece of publications in our website, and it's been a reference for many researchers and companies around the world. And that's again providing you white spaces or where you can invest. As an example, again, like maybe I should name another white space discovery, another Danish company, like but maybe that's better first to mention that our latest publication in WIPO Technology Trends, or WIT report, was the future of transportation. These samples and diagrams, it's in the report as well, but you can see that more than 1.1 million inventions or patent families published between 2000 to 2023 around transportation. And 11% of the patents related to the future of transportation was like, it shows the growth of the annual growth of the like this area for patenting. And like you can find a lot of insights about that. And I brought an example of a transportation company as well. That Danish company that I mentioned, like an entrepreneur, again, not naming them, that they noticed that everyone was patenting the cars themselves, but almost no patents existed for smart traffic infrastructure. So his company now holds fundamental patents for intelligent traffic system and license technology to cities worldwide, and they are generating 50 million annually on licensing revenue only. So these are examples that that they show you how to discover white space with a piece of analytics, which is already available for you. So you can use it in our website. And please also take a look at our handbook. And the last thing, I would say IP is the currency of innovation nowadays, but IP analytics is the compass that helps us spend it wisely. That's our suggestion to you. It's anonymous, but also attributed to Peter Turner. And thanks to my manager, Mr. Christopher Harrison, who is absent today on a mission. And this is his favorite, actually, one of his favorites quotes as well. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. Thanks to you again, Professor Busler and Dr. Hanani. And I'm happy if anyone has any questions to address and discuss even later via my email or LinkedIn. I'm happy to help you identify your white space, and hopefully do not wait to perfect moment for the perfect idea. Start with a simple patent search in your technology area and start it today. Thank you so much.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Puyan. That was very interesting. I wish we had some more time. We're way over our time limit. So I wanted to thank you for something extremely interesting. Okay, I think we have one left here. Puyan, you can stop sharing your screen. And I think Charles is the last one. We're way over time, Charles. So present very concisely, if you could. I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for the invitation. Really looking forward to the discussion. And hopefully, Professor Busler will get us back on time. I don't know, but I'll try to be as concise as possible.
Thank you.
Dr. Hanadi, thanks so much for the invitation again, and really looking forward to our discussion. I actually had an opportunity I first found out about this conference through colleague Dr. Thomas O'Neill and Dr. Larry Molnar. And then I had the opportunity, I guess, in 2021 to present to the convening, and so glad to be back here in 2025. Impressed by just the number of presenters and different perspectives that are shared and the different communities that we're touching with this convening. And wanted to share a few words about three particular areas, specifically around entrepreneurial support and how we can support technology entrepreneurs throughout our communities across the globe. First thing I want to talk about is an experiment. I want to share about an experiment that's underway in one of our local communities, really looking at how that community is transforming the work of entrepreneurial support. I think it'll be germane to many of our discussions. Secondly, I want to talk about another tool that many communities is available to all communities to advance entrepreneurial support through a concept of community of practices. And then lastly, wanted to talk about how MBIA is leveraging the both of these tools to support its members across the globe around entrepreneurial support. So if I'll go ahead and share my presentation, let's see here. View, no, not presenter view. Let me end this. View slideshow. Okay. So first, just to put my comments in context, just a little bit about MBIA.